Hi and welcome to another TNT. In fact, it's the last day of the working week. We will be doing our usual live program tomorrow morning, and on Sunday hopefully we can pull together another edition of Grumpy Old Men. I think we're almost up to 50 programs. Good heavens. Now today we will be talking about the Deputy Police Chief here in Thailand, in the news for all the wrong reasons, another bus crash indeed, and the reason why Taylor Swift, yep, we're talking about Taylor Swift in the news today, isn't performing in Thailand, but we will be heading to Myanmar to start today's program off. So I did want to start today's program in Myanmar. The situation is bubbling to the top. I think we're starting to see the beginning of the end, and we'll go to a story in just a moment. But I mean, Myanmar is just to the north of where I live. Beyond that, it's got a 2,500 kilometre long border with Thailand. The Thai government just seem to be turning a blind eye to what's happening there, but it's an unfolding human tragedy that we do need to talk about because, well, it is just so close to Thailand. The official numbers of the number of people that come from Myanmar to Thailand and the other way every day are just rubbish. The border is very, very leaky, and a lot of Burmese people are just walking across, one field to another, ending up in Thailand, and many of them getting jobs, many of them illegally. Let's go to this story, and it's featured on the top of the CNN World News stories yesterday. Now, despite what you think about CNN, as I keep on saying, I think their coverage of world news has and continues to be excellent. I don't want to kill, says the story. Conscription law sparks fear in war-torn Myanmar. And this was the headline story on CNN World News yesterday. And 3 years on from a bloody coup, Myanmar's military junta is facing the biggest challenge to its fragile hold on power as it struggles to fight a nationwide armed resistance on multiple fronts across the Southeast Asian nation. And the junta's surprise announcement that it's seeking to boost its armed forces with compulsory service prompted a rush by young people to get a visa out of the country. Videos shared on social media show long queues of people clutching documents at the Thai embassy in Myanmar's biggest city, Yangon. And they're just the ones who are trying to do it legally. The young people told CNN they're scrambling to figure out how to avoid being sent to the barracks, with some planning hasty exit strategies, illegal if necessary, from Myanmar, or weighing up leaving their homes and families to join resistance forces that have taken up arms against the military. So just imagine the situation where you've got young people in Myanmar who are going to be conscripted to fight against, perhaps even shoot and kill their own fellow Burmese. And the situation's unthinkable. Under the law, all men aged 18 to 35 and women aged 18 to 29 are required to serve for up to 2 years under military command. Specialists, such as doctors up to age 45, must serve for 3 years. And evading conscription is punishable by 3 to 5 years in prison and a fine. And Myanmar's military has been weakened by unprecedented coordination between ethnic armed organisations and resistance groups known as People's Defence Forces. And these groups, which supported the National Unity Government in exile and ethnic rebel armies, have taken control of hundreds of border towns, key military positions and vital trade routes since launching an offensive last October. Much of it, at least in the north, supported by China. An analyst from the US Institute of Peace suggests the military only has about 150,000 personnel, including 70,000 combat soldiers, barely able to sustain itself as a fighting force, and has lost at least 30,000 soldiers since the coup. So I've heard more than once stories of Burmese soldiers fighting for the junta who, even in the midst of a battle, walk literally from one side to the other and start shooting back at the army. And the Defence Minister, Admiral Tin Aung San, for the Burmese junta, says people who have been temporarily exempted from serving the military, those with a medical reason, civil servants, students and carers, must return to serve, even if over the age of military service. And further down, there's little detail about how they'd be called up and what training they'd receive to fight. Well, it certainly sounds desperate. from the point of view of the Burmese army at the moment. And a young Burmese person with a pseudonym said people know for sure that no matter what is written in the conscription law, they'll have to go to the front lines. This is one thing that every person in the country is sure of. And Anna, who was quoted at the start of this story, said she doesn't have the money or connections to buy a visa out of the country and worries the junta will be monitoring the airports, stopping those of age and arresting them. She says all the information on Facebook right now is about how to escape the country. And what, if anything, is the Thai government saying about all this? The story from the Bangkok Post: 7,000 Myanmar citizens seeking Thai visas, and more than 7,000 Myanmar nationals have applied for visas with the Thai embassy in Yangon as mandatory conscription looms in the military-ruled country. Many more thousands have applied for spots so they can visit the immigration office, and you can be assured that tens of thousands have already crossed the borders into Thailand, and many more tens of thousands will be heading in that direction. And Ms. Kanchana, who is a spokesperson for the Thai government, said Myanmar citizens could enter Thailand without visas under the ASEAN agreement, but the maximum stay is just 14 days. You can assure that will be extended by many people. And when asked whether the rush for visas was prompted by mandatory conscription, Ms. Kanchana said there was no clear information that the two developments were linked. And that same absence of a link could probably also be said about Ms. Kanchana's brain cells. Now, our poster boy policeman, the Deputy Police Commissioner, Surachate Hakparn, is making the headlines for, as I said, all the wrong reasons. And ThaiPBSWorld.com reports Police General Surachate refutes online gambling extortion allegation. The embattled Deputy National Police Chief called a press conference yesterday to declare his innocence after he was among 5 police charged by the CIB for allegedly extorting money from an illegal online gambling network. He disclosed that after his house was searched on September the 25th last year in connection with the mini online gambling network investigation, he and his 4 subordinates were charged with extortion, but he has not been summoned to acknowledge the charge. And Surachate says he suspects that the charges against him are intended to discredit him, adding that the NACC has not yet filed any charges against him after having accepted the case for investigation. And he said that by law, if the online gambling network has about 300 million baht in its coffers, the case should come under the jurisdiction of the Department of Special Investigations. So some more commentary about this particular matter reported in BangkokPost.com. Big joke denies online gambling ties. And the investigating officer, Police Major General Chaurun Kiat, said the investigation is being handled by the NACC because it involves high-level police officers. However, he believed the police should be involved because of the large number of suspects at 61. Police General Surachate, meanwhile, blasted the call for the NACC to refer the investigation to the police. Who are you to pressure the NACC? This is clearly overstepping the mark. And Surachate said he was not in charge of suppressing online gambling websites, so he did not have anything to do with their illegal operations, including accepting kickbacks. And with such a high-profile case, the Thai Prime Minister waded into the situation. Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin said yesterday Police General Surachate is innocent until proven otherwise, and he must be given a chance to defend himself. The Prime Minister declined to comment when asked if the issue was a ploy to discredit the Deputy Police Chief and undermine his chance of being appointed Police Chief. That's probably going to happen in some 2 to 3 years' time. Meanwhile, there has been another bus crash here in Thailand. This time, 37 Malaysians hurt in tour bus crash, and this reported by the BangkokPost.com. And 37 Malaysian tourists were injured along with a Thai driver and guide when a tour bus skidded off a road in Bop Ploi district on Thursday afternoon. And police were alerted at around about 1:30 p.m. And police rescue workers and medics who rushed to the scene found all 39 people on board the tour bus were injured, including 37 Malaysians. Some were seriously hurt. And the 44-year-old driver told police the bus had gone to the safari park and he was attempting to overtake a 10-wheel truck. and the steering wheel developed a problem and he was unable to control the bus. The bus skidded off the road and plunged into the roadside. And the bus driver said, luckily, there were no vehicles travelling in the opposite direction. Well, yes, and at least this time it wasn't the brakes. Always very happy to talk about our sponsor, 5 Star Marine. Now, they can take you out into that in one of these and take you on a beautiful, bespoke charter tour onto the waters of Phangar Bay. Well, you probably won't be going onto the Andaman Sea, although they can also organise trips just about anywhere within driving range around the island of Phuket. So contact 5 Star Marine at 5starmarinephuket.com, and there's also a link in the description of this video if you'd like a special deal for TNT viewers. And you're invited to join us tomorrow morning between 9 and 10 a.m. Then on Sunday we do have Grumpy Old Men that's usually uploaded at between sort of 8 and 9 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Let's talk tourism, and we go to the patiamail.com. Sorry, it's just patiamail.com. 85% of tourists to Thailand now don't need a visa. You probably haven't needed a visa to travel to Thailand as a tourist for a long time already. And within the last 6 months, the Thai government's made mammoth strides to ease the travel process for millions more foreign tourists. Previously, visa-exempt tourist travel was mainly restricted to the traditional or old markets, such as the EU, the UK, US and Australia. But now holidaymakers from Russia receive 90 days, needing neither prior approval nor a visa on arrival, whilst Chinese and Indian citizens and several smaller countries, like Taiwan and Kazakhstan, are awarded 30 days without any bureaucracy in a mutually agreed deal. And it says Thai immigration authorities reckon that 8 out of 10 short-term visitors to Thailand no longer need formal approval for travel. And the exceptions are largely nationals from Africa, parts of Asia and South America. And the writer says this is just the beginning, according to Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin. He's encouraging preliminary talks with Australia and also the EU, as well as others, for Thai citizens to travel to these countries visa-free in return for increased access to Thailand for their citizens, which might include, for example, visa-free travel for up to 60 or 90 days. And another Thai initiative is to probe the possibility of a regional or unification visa in which a tourist entry to one ASEAN country, say Thailand or Cambodia or Vietnam, would automatically grant the right to access any other participating member. So whilst there's been plenty of tinkering at the edges for tourist arrivals in Thailand, some of the long-term visas really haven't changed much at all. And Thailand is retaining its prior visa for long-stay expats, for example, elite and long-term residents, as well as annual extensions of stay for retirees, spouses and students. The bureaucracy for work permits is still intact, and there's a growing number of tailor-made visas for specific functions, for example, medical treatment, or those wanting to qualify in martial arts. Yep, you can now come to Thailand and get beaten up every single day in 35-degree heat. I tell you people who won't be doing that, and that is Swifties. Whoever thought we'd be talking about Swifties? That's Taylor Swift fans on the program. But The Guardian is reporting Singapore sought exclusivity deal over Taylor Swift concerts in Southeast Asia. And this is according to the Thai PM. And Srettha Thavisin claims promoters told him that the Singaporean government offered subsidies of $2 to $3 million a show. And he said the concert promoter, AEG, had informed him that the Singaporean government offered subsidies of $2 to $3 million a show as part of an exclusivity agreement. And Swift is playing 6 sold-out shows at the 55,000-seat National Stadium in Singapore. And the Thai PM said AEG didn't tell me the exact figure, but they said the Singapore government offers subsidies of between $2 to $3 million. But the Singaporean government is clever. They told organisers not to hold any other shows in Southeast Asia. And the Singapore government said the Singapore Tourism Board had supported the event through a grant. It said it recognised that there will be significant demand from Singaporeans, as well as fans across the region, for her to perform in Singapore, and worked directly with AEG Presents for Taylor Swift to perform in Singapore. But Swift's fans across Southeast Asia were bitterly disappointed when it was announced last year that she would skip most of the region and stop off only in Singapore during her Eras tour. Well, if AEG were half smart, and I'm sure they are, they would have gone around to all the Southeast Asian governments and said, hey, how about exclusivity for Taylor Swift? But it looks like the Singaporeans outsmarted the rest of ASEAN. So with that, we thank you very much for watching. From Taylor Swift to the Deputy Commissioner of Police in Thailand. Don't tell us that we don't cover all the different stories. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll put up a link in the YouTube page if people want to get in with an early question or comment, and we'll address those at the start of tomorrow's program. In the meantime, have a fantastic Friday. And we look forward to seeing you next time.